a huge storyline going into it is their history. And if you haven't been paying attention, where have you been? Right, Pereira, he's 2-0 going into this fight against Izzy. Their last fight, he actually knocked him out. Alex, what do you think about this? Him being 2-0, do you buy into it? Like, is it that big of a deal, or is this a new fight for us?
I really don't think so. Like it's kickboxing. It was like ages ago. Easy is like a different fighter with all that championship experience. And Pereira has only like 7 fights behind him in MMA. And like he started like in 2015, 16, like had like matches, and then like nothing until like 2020. And I
Yeah.
think like the spot that he has now is only because easy. So everything about this fight, if you ask me, it's like about easy and maybe like a little bit that history, but again, that's connected to easy. And maybe Alex, that KO power that he has, you know. But I think that's something that easy already felt. Um, he knows how to deal with. Like you saw in his other kickbox match, like he didn't get finished. So he finished only once. It happens to everyone. Again, I think that's ancient history. We have now completely two different fighters. And we're gonna see maybe the best edition of Israel Adesanya. Especially like last couple of his fights, it was decision, 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 decision lost. And then we have Paulo Costa where he had really good performance and managed to finish Paulo Costa, even though Paulo Costa, in my opinion, looked like shit in that fight. Maybe that's wine. Who knows?
Yeah, I mean, that's a good point. They're both different fighters. It was a bit ago, like 4 or 5 years ago. Um, but even though they're different fighters, they still both bring that kickboxing heavy style into MMA. So that is interesting how it's going to go down with the smaller gloves, right? Obviously, Pereira has that knockout power, but with the smaller gloves, so does Izzy. And one interesting thing is like not just that Izzy has the more UFC experience, but specifically 5 rounds, 5 minutes, right? Their last two fights being 3 rounds, 3 minutes. It's just a different pace, right? It's a whole different rule set to where because it's the shorter rounds, is both fighters have to throw more, right? So the output is different. Whereas like if you see Izzy, especially lately, like he's kind of cool with hanging back and then taking it into the later rounds, which I think is gonna kind of be a weird balance where if he gets Pereira into the later rounds, you would think that Pereira has less knockout power in the later rounds too. But it also gives Pereira 25 minutes to find that shot. So how does it go in the later rounds? We don't know because this is the first time that Pereira's had a 5 round fight. But still, I think the experience is going to be huge. And to me, it makes sense that Stylebender is the favorite going into the just because of the experience in 5 fives.
Yeah, I agree with you. What I want to add, for me, it's even surprise. Like we're gonna see in the next match, like odds. Like it's crazy. They give only -205 easy. So I think that's really good pick, for you guys.
Yeah.
And I think this one, because of the pace and maybe what Alex will try to do, I don't think this one will go to the distance. We're gonna maybe see the best edition of Easy, and don't forget, like he didn't show his ground game. Okay, we are not counting Blahovic, who was bigger and like really high level IQ fighter, and find a way to win. But like if we go back to the Gastelum fight when Easy was trying like triangles even from down, like he had a couple good attacks, like
Yeah.
that was in 2019. So after that, like if you remember, we had like also he was in Atos for a while, like he was here, he
Mhm.
was there, and he is a type of guy who works on fixing his mistakes, upgrading his knowledge. So I imagine like his ground game in 3 years is even much better, but we didn't see it because he didn't have to use it.
Mhm.
And this is maybe the perfect opportunity where he can showcase full MMA. like not just like standing and striking. He can maybe push Alex where he doesn't want to go. He just want to
Mhm.
stand and strike. He will go to the wrestling. He will put him to the ground. He will go to jiu-jitsu. That's like something that we didn't see from Alex, and I don't think he has like a as good as Easy has. Plus the championship. So I think this is really good. Even like 205, that's like for me all day, like where I'm gonna put my money.
Yeah, I mean that's an interesting point. Like even if Israel has been working on his grappling, there's been nobody in the UFC so far that has made Izzy want to take it into the grappling instead of just stand up, right? Where this might be the first fight that we've seen that like, hey, maybe it's better to mix it up and do the grappling, even if he doesn't even try to submit him, just to have that extra layer of something for Pereira to think about.
Just
Because
to take the power, put the
yep,
blood in the muscles, take away that KO power. He has that KO power because like he stays in kickboxing. He doesn't go to wrestling exchanges that much. Nobody really press him that much. I think maybe like only where he really got challenged a little bit, it was against Bruno. And the deal
yeah,
is also that Bruno doesn't mix up. He's really bad. Like if you go to him, like he has from 22 wins, 19 KOs. So he is also heavy striking oriented. Like he has like how many? 8 losses, 6 by submission. You know,
mm,
so I'm
yeah,
really just even that caliber. That's not like high level fighter. If he had like a little bit more ground game and could push it, like it's question would Alex also go through that test? He would maybe even fail there.
yeah. And another thing about like the whole 2-0 is even if it is a stand-up battle, like if you go back and watch those two fights before, like Israel wasn't doing bad, right? The first one was very close, and the second one you could say that Stylebender was actually winning that fight until he got knocked out, right? I don't think you could say it's a lucky punch, but he was winning before that punch landed. He even almost finished Pereira. So I wouldn't be surprised if we kind of see that a lot of times you'll see in like a rematch, provided that there's enough time in between the matches. Like the guy who lost the first one, they come in more hungry, right? More wanting to prove something. And that could be the case here. It seems like Izzy has a chip on his shoulder where maybe Pereira is kind of like out of character a little bit, doing the extra, I don't know if you see like on Instagram, he's kind of clowning on Izzy for some of that tennis ball shit he was doing. So I don't know. Maybe the spotlight will get to Pereira, and that'll be even more even more. I don't know, favor for Izzy to just be comfortable and just composed in there.
Yeah, I agree. I agree for sure. I think he's mentally so strong that this is gonna be a great fight for him. Especially I think what Alex has only that power and that's it. I mean, he's
Yeah.
great kickboxer. Don't get me wrong,
Yep. Yep.
but like again, like even if you go, what's his main attribute is that KO power. You know.
Yeah. I see some of the fans are like kind of turning on Stylebender. Have you noticed this? Saying that he's like a boring fighter now?
But that happened with everyone. That went like with Anderson Silva, who was one of the, after his fight with Thales Leites and Damian Maya. It
Yeah.
happened to so many, like because they always expect something.
George
And
St. Pierre too, yeah.
yeah, so like I wouldn't be bothered by that, and I think Easy is like so intelligent that that's not gonna get under his skin. And
Mhm.
especially I think like even stylistically and with the whole history, and there's gonna be like a match where he's gonna show full his potential. It's gonna
Yeah.
be like he's gonna be on the stretchers, or he's really gonna show like what he really is. It can happen. Like it happened. Like you said, he was winning the fight, he got KO'd. It
Yeah.
can happen again. But like my money on minus 200, 205, it's easy. So let's
Uh,
just wait Saturday and see.
Yeah, and I'd have to agree. Like, I haven't seen your picks yet, but I wonder if it's very similar this time around because I also picked Stylebender for this one.
Yeah, I pick him too. So I'm gonna go with Stylebender, and we're gonna see later when it's full card with our picks what we choose.